What's up, y'all? So, let me figure out how to add Save Our Children. Let's see. Hey, Save Our Children podcast. Add you to my live video. Go ahead and send me a request, Save Our Children, and we will start. Let's see. Here we go. You hear me?
Yep.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Hanging in there, man. It's been a long day.
Becky should be joining soon. Let me turn my volume.
Cool. We have a few people in here. What's up, guys? So just for you guys that are joining in, this is Save Our Children podcast. So we were going to talk today. And you know how the media goes with censoring everything we do. So we got to pull all the stops in this one, right?
Right. Hopefully we can get it. Becky should be popping on soon.
Oh, no problem.
I'm so excited. I actually get to go live. I'm like, I know. Finally.
I hear it's been a while since you've been able to go live, huh?
It's been a minute.
Yeah. Well, I don't really use live much because, I have no idea. Like, I'm sitting here hitting buttons. I'm like, I have no idea how I'm doing this because this is...
Especially for Instagram. I'm still, trying to get used to the lives. I don't do them.
Yeah, for anybody who's, seeing me googly eyes, weird, it's, I'm trying to look at her and not my camera. So if I look over here, I'm directly at my camera. If I look at you, it looks like I'm looking off into space. So that's what it is.
Oh, wait. Becky requested.
Okay, let me add Becky real quick.
And I'm on my iPad because I'm normally on my phone, but we're screen recording on the other one. So yeah.
How you doing, Becky?
Good. How are you? I see you guys crooked. Are you turned?
We're sideways. So you
want me to here? Let me see if I can turn my tablet.
Too.
Are you on the tablet?
Either way, otherwise I can turn mine and I'll just do.
Yeah, turn yours, and we could all go that way.
There we go.
Cool.
Well, let's see if it stays that way because it probably won't, but we'll try it.
Yeah, and then, we have how it goes. We have to look at the comments this way, so.
Oh, yeah, true.
So how you ladies doing today?
Good. How are you? Thanks for joining us.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for having me. I'm good. Just like I was saying, it's a long day. It's, living the American dream, working a regular job and still trying to do music, plus being a dad and a husband, and you know how that goes. Definitely. And the crisis that our whole nation is in.
Freaking world is in.
Right? You're not kidding. What's going on with you guys?
Well, not much. That's exactly what we're on here to talk to you about is because we are both moms. We both work full-time jobs. We both are trying to figure out how to raise our kids without ruining them and not without living in fear. And so for your followers who don't know who Bridget and I are, we are the Save Our Children podcast. And we have a podcast where we literally bring in a whole bunch of people who have been trafficked that are survivors, people who have been abused. We have healers, we have artists and musicians. All of these people come in because we couldn't find anything that told us how to help raise your kids without putting them in a bubble and keeping them away from the world. And so we're like, all right, what can we do? And our passion is really to educate parents to help them deal with the world. And so we're so blessed to have you join us and come on, because I know that you, like you said, you're a dad, you're dealing with the entertainment industry, living the dream, and we know how crazy that is.
Yeah, if you call it that, right? It's the dream.
Hey, we look at the bright side, though. We make it do. We figured a way to fit it all in. One
way or the other, we figured. I have this saying over here back home because our main newspaper is called the Citrus County Chronicle because I live in Citrus County. So when somebody goes, well, how you doing? I say, I'm just living the dream, one Citrus County Chronicle at a time. It's one day at a time. That's all you can take it around here. And you just never know these days where that's going to take you, right?
Seriously.
Right. Yeah, so how did you get into the music business? Have you always been? Is that something you've always had a passion for?
Well, yeah, I've always been in music. Believe it or not, I've told the story so many times. It's crazy because I was actually pretty big in a signed band, but I played metal music for a long time. I've loved rock and roll my whole life, but I've also loved country music my whole life. You know, my dad has always been a huge country fan, and he just always had us around it. So I had a love for it, and so I started playing guitar and pretty much every instrument. I mean, I can't really see, but I have pianos, guitars
all
everywhere.
over.
But yeah, but I've always been into playing instruments, and I didn't really sing, but I've always loved to sing. You know, I just didn't. I was too shy to do it in front of anybody. But you know, as the years went on, I just started coming out of my shell a little bit, and I had people, oh, you have a great voice, you should try singing. You know, and I've always been a songwriter. Like for me, I'm not a cover artist. You know, I don't like playing other people's songs. I like writing my own songs, telling my own stories to the world in my own way, which is through music, you know. To answer your question shortly, yeah, I have been into music for as long as I can remember. But as of like putting music out professionally, whatever you want to call it, making money off of music, I've only been doing this about 10 months, a little short of 10 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's,
yeah. So
I was excited because Bridget is more of a rap hip hop fan.
Yep.
And so she brings in all the people. I was like, I don't know who these people are, but like they're great. Everybody we've met has been absolutely wonderful. But then she's like, oh, you need to listen to this song. And I was like, it's about time it's a song I'd listen to.
yeah, that's
yes.
When I saw you on podcast with, or not on a podcast, on a live with TMR, I was like, oh, country, because I listen to country. And even though everyone's like, oh, she always listens to trap music, rap music, whatever, I'm like, okay, I do listen to country, but there's only certain artists. So when I heard your music, I like got off of the live and like listened to it like the rest of the day, and I was like, oh, I got a new album. And so I was so excited when I was like, oh, finally I got some country, I can mix them both.
Well, that's kind of what I try to do. Is it's a little different, as you notice. I'm not, as you hear me talk, I'm not a twang guy. I'm like, hey man, hey y'all. I'm not going to pretend to be that, you know. I grew up in the country. I work construction for a living, you know. That life to pretend I'm something I'm not. So that reflects in my music. Like I love the modernicity of everything that comes into music these days, whether that's through hip hop or country or rock or whatever. So that's my whole goal with my music, is to stay to my country roots, but to also bring a modern twist to it. And I've done a lot of stuff with a lot of hip hop artists. You know, my first big song was with Burden, which I'm sure both of you are familiar with. We're from the same hometown, Burden and I.
Oh.
Yeah, I've known him for a long time, and I owe a lot of what I do now to him, because he really showed me the ways of this business and being an independent artist and the work it takes to come from nothing to something, you know, because I remember Burden, you know, 10 years ago when he was trying to hand out, you know, mix CDs, and now he's got millions of streams, hundreds of thousands of followers, and he did that all himself. So that's inspiring to me. So, you know, we've been friends around the same hometown, and of course, we're in a small town, so everybody goes, oh, this guy Rick over here is a country singer. Burden's a hip hop artist. You guys need to collaborate, because that's like the Florida Georgia Line Nelly thing.
I was just going to say, that's the best kind of new stuff that's coming out. Heck yeah.
But we figured, hey, man, you know, let's give this a shot. So he actually gave me a shout and he's like, dude, you know, it's about time. Let's do a song together. So we did the song Home, which is about addiction. So that was cool, and it got a lot of success. I mean, it got hundreds of thousands of streams. So that really, you know, I can't say that I don't owe any of my success to all myself, because I know that I skipped light years and years of doing the hard independent, coming up from 0 followers, nobody knowing who I am, to where I am today, you know, which is nothing huge, but he gave me that jump. And then, you know, like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Kendall Tucker. He's a good friend of mine. He did a 13 Reasons Why song. He was the guy.
Yeah,
I do know that song. I've been listening to that one. Yeah.
Well, Kendall's if you like hip hop, Kendall's a very talented hip hop artist, country hip hop, but he's done huge songs with guys like Best Believe, Big Smo, and, you know, really big names in the industry. And so we've done a couple songs. A real good friend of mine, but he also is a dad. He's married, and his whole basis of music is being Christian and preaching. He doesn't cuss in any of his songs.
That's awesome.
But he can hang with mainstream because his music's so good. You know, that's what's important. you know, not giving into the cliches, but being able to hang, you know, with the music industry, because it is cutthroat, you know.
Especially being an independent artist, people don't realize the level you have to go through to even be up there with those mainstream level artists. And I just love the message behind your music and what you're doing, and especially with the way the world and like how satanic the music is right now and the whole industry. So as I've seen like so many more collabs coming out with you, TMR, everyone that's making music right now, I'm like, wow, like finally I can replace my playlist with some artists and clean music, and our kids can actually listen to it. So
No, I appreciate that.
Yeah, even going off of that, how do you balance it all?
Yeah.
It's a struggle every day, I promise. No, honestly, I have to give it to my family. My family puts up with a lot. It is you know, doing this, and there's always that long shot goal of, am I going to make it? You know, I've turned down a couple record labels already, decent sized ones out of Nashville, because I'm not that artist that's going to be like, oh, I'm signed, so I must be taken seriously. I'm a signed artist. Because you don't need to be signed these days. I mean, you look, the connections we can make now with technology is what you had to have a record label for 15 years ago. You don't need that anymore. If you're willing to do the legwork, you don't even need the money anymore. You know, so the money's great to push stuff, but if you don't have money, get on to social media and do the work, do the legwork, push your stuff, keep coming up with new content. You know, TikTok is absolutely huge for independent artists or businesses for that matter. You know, that's how I really made a huge jump in the industry, was from my TikTok starting to blow up. And so it's put the effort in, man. If you don't make it in music, it's not because you're not talented. It's because you just didn't do enough work, because there is an audience for every type of music. You know what I mean? So it is a hard balance though, because my family, there's times where we've had to sacrifice a lot of time together. I have a 3-year-old daughter and an 11-year-old son, you know, so there's times where I have to go to a show, or I just went on tour with Kendall. We did a 4-state tour, and that I was gone for a week, and you know, so it's hard for her. And my wife's amazing. You know, she takes care of that, holds the fort down while I'm gone. You know, last night I had to do a thing with a couple of buddies over at a local place here. She held the fort down. So it just like, you know, being parents and running a podcast, you know, you have that professional part of you that you have to give a part of yourself to, and then you have the rest of your life, you know? Yeah, it's hard sometimes.
And I love that they understand it. Same with our kids, that they understand why you do what you do, that there is a passion and a love behind it, but then also you're reaching other people. And so again, if for our world, our kids don't necessarily see any like results of that, because it's not like, oh, I saw your mom on her podcast. That would be probably weird. But like having music out there, oh, like that's my dad. And I know I have an 11-year-old son too, so I'm sure that is, for my son, it would be mortifying now. 5 years from now, it might be pretty cool, but he would be like, why are you doing that? You're embarrassing me.
No, believe it or not, it's funny you say that, because I got a call from my son the other day. He's like, hey, can you send me a video saying, hey, I'm Rick Lynn and I'm Grant's dad? I'm like, why? He goes, because my friends don't believe me. So I'm
That's
like, really?
So fun.
Yeah, so I had to sit in my truck and I'm like, hey, buddy, it's Rick Lynn, your dad. And
your dad.
So he showed him. He's like, they finally believe me, man. I'm like, well, you know, it's cool. They're just kids. But I asked him last night.
So
I'm like, why did I need to do this? Like, they just didn't believe me, man. They love your music and they didn't believe that you were my dad. I'm like, well, that's cool. You know, it's the little victories,
That's
right?
cute.
Yeah. That's so fun that they got to do. But it's, I was there when you were born.
Yeah, right. Actually, no. So my son is not my blood son. He's my wife.
Okay.
So yeah, he's my stepson.
Well, that makes me love you even more, because I have a stepdad and I know how hard it is to step into that role. So
yeah, he was my first little weirdo, you know. But yeah, I've been around since he's been 4.5, and now he's going on 11. So yeah, but you know, he made it. It's like I say at my shows, you know, he doesn't have to come from me to be a part of me. You know what I mean? So it's
got a bonus dad. That's amazing.
Yeah, so I appreciate it. But I don't know. So I know you said you don't really listen to country. I don't know if you've ever heard that song, LV Shane, My Boy by LV Shane. That's an awesome song. That's actually what kind of skyrocketed his career. It's just about being a step parent, and couldn't be more true. You know what I mean? So you should give it a listen.
At my wedding almost 17 years ago, I used Brad Paisley's He Didn't Have to Be. that was the song that I used to dance with
Yep.
my stepdad, because that's the same kind of thing. Like, you don't have to be there. So no, my brother is a stepdad and my dad is a stepdad. So I know how much work and energy and love it goes into that. So bless you for
I
doing that.
appreciate it. You know, we don't do it for praise. We do it because we have to and we want to, you know, but
Yeah.
it's nice though. It's nice, you know, because it is hard. It's definitely hard being a step parent. It's hard being a parent in general these days, like you're saying.
Yeah,
You
right.
have to
Especially
shield.
today.
Yeah.
Like everything has changed. Like we often talk about too, like what we grew up around and like how we were raised to now. And like there's certain things that we have to talk about as parents where we never imagined having to talk about porn or even technology and the dangers like at such a young age. Even like the drugs. So but then you see like suicide so young at even the elementary level. And so then you look and you're just like, as a parent, you just look like, how do I do this without your kid being like, oh my God, you're taking everything away from me? Like my kid, she's often like, oh, well, I'm the only one without social media. I'm the only one without a cell phone. I'm like, trust me, you'll thank me later.
Mm-hmm.
And right now she's
Yeah.
like, no. So
No, hey, for you guys joining in, just wanted to say this is Save Our Children podcast. We're doing a live. So, all you guys, thanks for coming in. I know you guys are coming and going. You're about your day. It's a Friday, getting ready to start your weekend. But we're just talking a little bit about, you know, life and the craziness around the music industry and life in general. So, thank you guys for showing up. And I'm happy to talk to you guys as well. So,
yeah, and
Yeah.
with that,
Welcome everybody. Thank you.
yeah.
Going back into the message and inspiration behind your music, can we go into the latest track that you're on, Outlast the Weather with TMR, and the storyline and inspiration behind that song?
Yeah. So, okay. So I have, first off, I write 100% of my own music. With that being said, I have a few really good friends that are musicians that have helped me write some songs, you know, or just, you know, give me some ideas. And that one, believe it or not, so I have a friend named Richard William Dickey, super talented artist as well. He's got music on Spotify and stuff. Um, he actually helped me come up with the idea of that. So we were, you know, messing around and we're like, you know, let's write something for kind of cancer awareness. And you didn't really hear, so that song I actually had recorded completely by myself first, and before I had TMR jump on it. So I have a second verse that kind of explains more that nobody really got to hear because TMR jumped on it, you know. Because I'm like, yeah, I think he's so talented. I'm like, I have to put him on this song. But the inspiration of that was, you know, we were writing, we're like, you know, cancer awareness is something that people don't really touch on that much. And with my music, I like to write about real things, you know, like I have the fun songs like everybody, because not everything's so serious all the time. You can just enjoy life. And there's songs that need to reflect that. But I also am not afraid to touch on things that mean something to me and other people. Now, at the same time, I'm not going to push a political agenda. I know a lot of people are doing that and they're riding that wave because, you know, people want to see that and it's getting them thousands of streams and thousands of hits. It's not really what I want to do. My message with music is to create positivity. And if you get in your car, you can just, you know, start your car and go on a road trip and you can enjoy my music. And you can have your kids in the back seat and not have to like skip tracks, you know?
Right.
I love
because we're pretty strict with our kids. Like we don't let them cuss. They both do have technology, you know, some phones to watch their YouTube, but we limit that. My son, you know, being an 11-year-old, loves video games. I limit him to that. Because like you said, there's a lot of outside things that come into play with that, you know. But with my music, I just want it to be positive. So that song in general was just me putting a positive light on a very dark situation. That's why it's called Outlast the Weather. You know, to me, there's a lot of people that see cancer or whatever else. We kind of also connected to the tornadoes in Kentucky. You're looking at that storm, whether it's a huge something over your head like cancer, a diagnosis, and you look at that and you go, how am I going to get past this? You know, I might as well have a death sentence. I have cancer. You know, nobody wants to hear that ever. You know, I've known, I'm sure you have, everybody in here has known somebody or had cancer or is battling it. So my version of that song was to just spread positivity and just say, listen, you know, this is the story that you don't hear about, the struggle of that person going through this and the support system they have to have. Because I can tell you right now, there's so many people that have that would have probably passed away long before they did, or not still be alive if they didn't have a support system of some kind. And that's so important. So that song is like me saying, appreciate the support system, the people that have that diagnosis or something like that, because it's so important to us, you know. So the lyrics to it are, you know, we can outlast the weather because this may be a bad storm, but I'm going to be there to help you out no matter what happens, you know. So that was mine and Richard's goal. And then TMR jumped on and he just made it even better, you know, because that dude's just a fantastic lyricist. So, you know, I knew it was going to be good. It took a long time to get it. I was bugging him, man. I'm like, TMR, where's it at, man?
I need you,
bro. He told me, though, he's like, man, you got to be patient with me on this one because this song means something, man. He goes, and I write a lot of military lyrics. He goes, but this is something different. He goes, I really want to hit with this. You know, he heard the song and he goes, dude, that's a hit. He goes, I love that song. And I'm like, I appreciate it because it's different than what I usually do. And because there's a lot of full band, that's a lot of full band in that song. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's usually doing keyboard beats and stuff. And I'm like, it's a little change of pace. And when he told me, he's like, dude, let me put it on the album. I was like, absolutely, man. You know, that's an honor. And then it ended up charting and stuff. And I've gotten so many messages from people that said it helped them. And that was the ultimate goal, you know? So I'm grateful.
And I think that's super important because people even don't, like, even in your day-to-day lives, people are like, oh, well, I don't know if I'm doing something or how I can change or get involved. And it's like, we always talk about the power of one. And even we were talking about it today, like, we haven't been live, so we're like, we don't know the turnout, but we know what our podcast and everything else does offline and the messages that we get and that you get. And so for us, we often talk about the power of one. If we can change and impact one person every day, whether it's a smile, whether it's a positive message, or even the music you're listening to, that really changes the frequency and gives someone the courage to know and make it to the next day, because you never know what anyone's going through. So we often talk about the power of one.
Well, and I think that, I mean, you guys, all of you independent artists, the amount of writing you do and the amount of the songs you put out, it is mind blowing. Because I sit there, I was like, how do you even have that many words in your head to come up with all of those songs and then make them work? It's amazing to me. But I think the thing that as a country we're really getting behind is you're saying what we're thinking. Because so many people are in there hiding behind a social media. They're not putting anything out there. They don't want to rock the boat. They don't want to do this, but they're like, wait a minute, more people, wait, you're saying what I want to say, or you're standing up and saying, all right, enough of this stuff. And so again, I know you're probably seeing that. We're seeing that. Like, thank you for posting what you post. Thank you for talking about what you're talking about or singing about what you're singing about, because I can't say it because of the job I'm in, the family I'm in, the situation I'm in, but I appreciate you standing up and saying it. So I know that is definitely something coming from our listeners and whatever, like, all right, thanks for doing this. And I'm sure that you see that as well.
No, I appreciate that. You know, I have a good friend named Jim that runs Boots and Whiskey podcast. We did a podcast together too. And he kind of said that same thing. And what I told him, which I still stand by, is us as independent artists, I feel like we have a responsibility because there's a lot of artists out there that feel the same way that we do, but they're choked by having a huge record label that they sign that contract with. So therefore they can't say it. So I understand that, everybody got on Morgan Wallen when, he did what he did and he had to come out and apologize. And people were like, why'd you do that? Well, that's his livelihood, that his record label's threatened him. He has to do that or he's done, so. But us as independent artists, we can say and do what we want. Now, we've also seen that the media doesn't necessarily let that happen. They will censor you any chance that they get, but that's just a small version of what could potentially happen with much bigger artists. So, no, I appreciate that. It does get, you get those good messages and you get those bad messages. Believe me, you got to learn to have a thick skin if you're in this business.
Yeah, and even just talking about censorship, like, it's a blessing and a curse. Like, for me, I will always say it's at the moment when you're trying to get the message out there or put your content out, it's really annoying and frustrating. And there's moments where you're like, I don't know whether I want to cry or laugh or both.
Right.
And we'll just sit there and we're just like, okay, give us a minute as we're cussing out Instagram, social media, everything in our head. But then we sit back and it's like, if that didn't happen, we would have never been able to connect with all the independent artists and all the survivors and everyone all across the world that we have. So for me, I always say social media and censorship is a blessing and a curse. But the other side of that is we often will sit back and pray and be like, okay, what message is God trying to give us to say, maybe it's allowing us to even be more creative with our content and different ways of thinking outside the box. And so then it's just a longer process in the journey, but then along that journey, we're connecting with independent artists, and like we've tapped more into connecting more with the military side and hearing their stories. And so just even the countryside, and now seeing everyone connect in that community is just beautiful, because you don't see that in mainstream media. You don't see that with the mainstream level artists as well. And if they do, it's all one dark message and low vibration. So it's like, nope, I'd rather go this way and stick with God's path and everyone who's making clean music right now, because it's really even beautiful watching it all come together. Like, you guys aren't even filming or recording in the same studios. So that's even mind blowing, is watching the whole process of it and then hearing it on one track. It's like, whoa, like, do you realize the art and like the work they put behind that to even make it happen?
Yeah, it is a lot of work, that's for sure. Actually, TMR and myself were speaking today. We're going to do a music video to Outlast the Weather. And,
Whoa.
yeah, we're going to do one. And I told him, I said, listen, man, if we have to make it happen, even to where we film in similar locations, because, he's in Texas and I'm here. So I'm like, if we have to do that, Florida and Texas have a lot of similarities. I've been to Texas as well. And he's like, well, actually, I'm going to be in Florida at the beginning of February. And I'm filming a few music videos in Florida anyways, or in February. So I'm like, let's get together. So we're going to so look out for that. That's definitely going to happen.
That's so fun.
Yeah, we're going to push that one. Yeah, so it is hard because, it's like I said, people go, when they ever ask me, like, how much money have you spent on music? And I tell them how much. I don't really have a number, but they're like, how can you spend that much? I'm like, well, it's because it's my passion. What else am I going to go buy? Like watches or trucks? Or, at least if I spend something on a song, it's there forever, and it could change many people's lives. So that's worth whatever thousands of dollars it costs, because it is expensive. I'm fortunate. I have an awesome studio locally here that all of us go to, Brick Studio. It's a good friend of mine named Randy, and he has the same core values. He's a family guy. So, like you said with the military thing, when I got into that, I've always been a patriot. I was a federal corrections officer for a long time. Yeah, that one's a hard one too, But I did that, and so getting into that community, everybody's so supportive, And then when Kendall and I released 13 Reasons Why, like, that exploded that community that we wrapped ourselves in, because people appreciate the military, but like you said, nobody says anything about it because they're afraid to get censored. It's like, how can you not be proud of our men and women in uniform that literally put their own lives on hold to make sure that you're living your day-to-day activities?
Right.
How can nobody want to say that all the time? But there's people that are scared to say it, and I don't understand why. But
yeah, I have a really good friend of mine who was in the Army. She was back in Desert Storm and stuff like that. And she wrestles daily with the way the country has become. Like, what did I go to war for when people don't even want to stand up for the country? And I remind her regularly, like, no. I am connected with so many people that believe and feel the exact same thing we do. They're just not letting us know that. That's the censorship thing. There are millions, tens of millions of people in this country, probably hundreds of millions of people in this country, that believe the same thing we do when it comes to the patriotism of our country, the military, what they've done. But they don't want us to know that other people are out there just like us.
No.
So we have to like underground talk about it And if you're not one of those people who can do that or make those connections, you have no idea, because it doesn't come up on your feed every day. You have to like be in groups with other patriots. And that's probably the biggest thing that I've taken away from this whole wild COVID stuff, is really speaking my truth, because I have ended up meeting more people around the world and around our country that I would call like dear friends. I've never even met them in
No, of
person.
course. The beauty of social media.
Right?
Yeah.
And so it just really is.
Yeah, it is insane. Like we can reach so many people. That goes back to what I said. It's changed so much with technology, like being able to do this, or being able to push your music yourself to potentially millions of people, or not even music, just your message. People that are really into podcasts, or really into any kind of speech or anything like that, positive reinforcement, mentoring, whatnot. To be able to do that and do it from your home it's amazing. Who would have thought?
Yeah, right. Well, and one of the things you touched on, and we've talked about in our podcast, is like the idea of ego, and not in the sense like, oh, I have a big head or blah blah blah, but the idea of like, you could have signed with labels, you could be going somewhere, but like God is intending me to be in this path or to do this thing, and that takes some removal of the ego. Like, I want to be big, I want to be famous, do I really? No, I really just want my message out there. I don't know that I necessarily need to be famous, but can you kind of speak on that and the thought? Because again, you could have gone. What was kind of your thought about like, nope, that's not a good fit for me?
Yeah.
Well, everybody wants to get their message out to the most amount of people possible, and usually the only difference, I say this to people, that being famous and not famous is just more people know who you are. A lot of famous people are no more talented than the next guy. I don't want to say they caught a break, because it does take, sometimes they did, sometimes they didn't, but they're no more talented. They just are known by a wider variety of an audience. So for me, I don't need that. I mean, like, I don't need to say that I'm signed. Like I said, of course I like to have as many like-minded individuals that want to follow me as possible, or follow my journey. I don't say follow me, just follow my journey. I don't really even like saying fans, because we're all a fan. I said this to TMR. Like, I hate that word, because that just sounds like you're like, oh, you're my fan. No, because you may not like who I am as a person, and you like the music, So if you follow the journey and you follow the direction that I'm in, and you're like-minded, then let's do it together. It is hard, because I have been offered, and it's easy to take it, and it's easy to get caught up in that whole like, oh, I want to be this person that everybody sees, and it may or may not happen with the label. I haven't found a major label or anything that's like-minded with me, and I don't want to be choked, and I don't want to have someone tell me you can and can't say this. I still have a full-time job, so like, I don't do this as my only means of money. So I don't have to do that either. There are people that quit their whole job and they want to do this, and then it becomes stressful, because now you're a slave to that driver. You have to do that, because then you're not going to have money otherwise. Technically this is a hobby for me, even though it's getting larger and larger, and hopefully one day it will be my only job to where I can produce enough money for that. But I'm not going to change who I am to make that happen. I do have a message, just like you said. We all have a like-minded message, and my message is to spread positivity through music, and also to let people be aware that there are issues out there that people don't want to talk about. I'll do it for you. I'll be the bad guy, believe me, you in
That
this
sounds
business,
like us.
Yep.
Yeah, you're in this business, you're going to be the bad guy. It doesn't matter how good you really are.
Well, and you can't always make everyone happy. Not everyone's always going to agree with your message or like who you are, and you just have to learn to really not care and just be your authentic self. And for us, that's always one thing, is like just being super transparent in everything that we do, whether it's on our podcast or what we're doing as parents and in our daily lives. And like you said, even the money aspect behind it, you investing in yourself is really effective, because you also see along your journey how much you've changed and you've grown, not only as an artist, but as a father, as a husband. And so overall, that really does impact more people throughout the community, because your message grows with you as you continue to plant seeds and continue to water and invest in yourself. You grow and you see the overall success of your mission and who you are as a man in general as well.
Oh yeah, yeah, I agree with that. And you do see growth, and you do invest in yourself, and you just have to realize that this is something that could go completely wrong, or could go to where you don't get anywhere with it. But I've always been the type to say, at least you tried at the end of the day, and people's success is measured in different ways.
Yep.
Like somebody could think, oh, if I don't make it to where Eminem is, then I didn't make it as a rapper. Well, that's a very small percentage that makes it that big. But in my eyes, if you can change people's lives, and it sounds cliche, but if you can do that and you can make money doing what you love, then you made it in music.
Totally.
You don't have to be a millionaire. I mean,
Totally.
most of these people that are artists are not millionaires anyways. You could have lots of songs. I've been blessed enough that I've met some of my idols in country music through me doing music. And I can tell you right now, they're regular people. And when, you're like starstruck for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then when you get to talk to them backstage and play a show or something, they're just average, nice people. And they know what they're doing, And so as long as you can keep your head on the ground, and just keep yourself level-minded, then you can go anywhere you want. They really do mean the sky's the limit. You really can do anything you want as long as you believe in yourself and you're willing to do it. That's the main thing. So many people have such long-term goals, and they don't think that any goal that they meet to get to that is worth anything. You know what I mean? They're only seeing this up here.
Yep.
You got to make small goals. Everybody, especially as an artist, I want so many followers by this time or this next. And if you don't reach it, then you just keep trying. You don't give up. Because there's one absolute fact: if you give up, you're never going to get there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I think that it lends itself, like maybe you don't become uber famous or do whatever, but look at the example you're giving to your children. And to stand up and to do that, like who knows who they'll become, because you were strong enough to do what you did, and you showed them what hard work is, and you showed them what it took to do those, to be a dad and a worker and a musician and do all those things. And I think we oftentimes don't give ourselves enough credit in that realm. Is who are we creating? Who are we helping to create in the next generation because of what we're showing them now? And that's a lot of times what Bridget and I talk about is, how do we help our kids be good people next in their whole life, and then raise good people after that? What are we doing to help generations in the future? Because that's where we're going to start seeing change. Behind us, they already messed everything up.
Yeah, right. You're not kidding.
Our parents screwed it all up. We're going to come in and fix it all. But I don't know that it necessarily, quote unquote, changes with us, but it does, because I think we shift everything and we start going down the right path again.
Yeah, I agree 100%. So.
When it comes to fatherhood, what would you say has been the biggest challenge with the way of the world right now in parenting?
Well, it depends. You have a girl and a boy. So
I know, right?
Yeah.
She's
got a girl and boys, so.
Yeah, well, she's 3 going on 30, so you know how that goes. I mean,
and 3-year-olds are special in and of themselves.
She's a pistol too, She's beautiful little blonde hair, blue-eyed girl. Everybody loves her, but I think social media by far. YouTube Shorts, like, to me, that's the biggest challenge, is trying to keep the outside. It's a balance, because you don't want to be overbearing as a parent and be like, you can't do none of this, you can't do any of this, and then you're that boring parent, and then your kids end up resenting you because all their friends are doing this. But at the same time, you try to filter what you let come through the cracks, and it is hard because, it's filtered and censored as the media makes everything. Jeez, man, they let a lot of crap come through on YouTube and stuff that you're like, man, 5 years ago, this has been considered porn. You know what I mean? It's normal, But that's the biggest thing for me, is the And, you know, and this is something that's always going to be that way, but it's the outside, the friends and stuff, when their parents aren't strict on them. And then your kids come home and like, oh, Dad, can I do this? No, you can't do
Where
it.
did
Well,
you even hear
so-and-so's
about that?
doing this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So-and-so's doing this. Their parents, well, so-and-so's not my kid. You know what I mean? So it's, that's the biggest thing, is filtering that outside negativity, if you should say, into your household, and trying to figure out how to balance that out between being overbearing and then being too laid back and letting your kids walk all over you, because that's what you see a lot nowadays. Parents want to be friends more than they want to be parents, and that's the problem.
Yes.
I have my own friends that have been like that, where it's like, it's awkward because I watched their relationship with their kids, and I'm like, yeah, no, but it's not my place to say anything.
Yeah, and they're afraid to discipline their kids. Like, I know some kids who get away with so much, but then like the parents ground them, but then they still have the phone, and I'm like, what's the point of that? Or like they control the parents, and the parents are just like, oh yeah, you're grounded, and then they ask like a day later, can I go here? They're like, oh yeah, here. Or they don't want to discipline them, and they just throw the tablet at them, and that's the answer, so they don't have to deal with the attitude and all of that. And it's like, no, what are you doing? Going to the comments, Matt says, I agree and disagree. I think TikTok is the worst. I'll speak to this, having a 12-year-old daughter. TikTok is absolutely horrible. There is a lot that is pushed on TikTok, especially when it comes to, I always talk about like the entertainment industry and how they make the females think that they have to like twerk and do all this nonsense on there, and basically there's a lot of sex exploitation on there. And so a lot of young girls think that they have to do that in order to be looked at or to be liked, and it messes with their confidence. Luckily, my kid doesn't have TikTok or any of that.
But they can put it on
but
YouTube.
They see it. Yeah, it's on YouTube. She can see it on YouTube. All her friends at school do it. So for me, finding that balance, and just like Rick was saying, I often hear, well, so-and-so's parents let them do this. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm not that parent. Like, we still are going to set boundaries. So what we often talk about when it comes to technology and TikTok and YouTube is we can set the barriers, but our kid is still going to be our kid when they are not in our control or with us. So for us, we often talk about the education side of TikTok and social media and the dark side of it, and really just having that open communication of knowing that if someone was to reach out to you through the gaming systems or through social media, know that this is out there and there are predators and they can approach you, but just make sure you're open and transparent about it. Because again, so many parents want to be the kids' friends these days.
Yeah, I mean, no, I agree with that. And, you know, coming back to the whole TikTok thing, yeah, I agree with that as well. It's just what I was pointing on YouTube is everybody's trying to copy what TikTok does, you know, with YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, you know, Facebook, TV or whatever. They're doing what TikTok does, where that it's super quick to just scroll and see thousands of different people creating different content. So in general, as a whole, yeah. And you know, we're all guilty of it. It is the 21st century, you know, it's 2022. I mean, one of the biggest problems that my wife and I have is when we're sitting at the dinner table, you know, and I'm guilty of this as well. You know, we're all on our phones all the time, but our kids cannot eat dinner without trying to sit on their phones. And then you have them competing with sounds, you know, with their sounds. So like for Christmas, we bought them both Bluetooth headphones. They're like, y'all can shut up now. You know what I mean? But no, but it's, they constantly want to be on their phones because they see my wife and I being on our phones all the time. But when we're at dinner, we kind of have this rule. We're like, listen, as a family, put the phones away. And believe me, it's an everyday battle that we're constantly fighting. It's uphill all the time. But I think that's the thing is these kids become so desensitized to just living their life through a screen that they forget to live it outside, you know? So it's like last night, I took the time with my son to play football. My wife was coming home from work. She picked up our daughter and we just sat outside for like 15 minutes playing football because it's something we don't ever do because he's either playing a video game or he's on YouTube or I'm like, dude, let's go outside. You know, my wife even came, she's like, what are you guys doing? I was sitting on the tailgate of my truck. I'm like, it's nice. In Florida right now, it's like
it's not 1,000 degrees.
Yeah. So, you know, we like to take advantage of our bipolar weather we have here. So, but
yeah,
it
we're
is
in Arizona.
nice.
We get it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I actually just had some family moved up there and then moved directly back about a month later. It's like, nope, I'll take Florida any day.
There's no humidity here.
There's no humidity. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is different because our cold weather. See, I'm originally from Michigan over and up
Wisconsin.
north, and oh, okay, so
Mhm.
so the weather there is so cold compared to here, but
So
it is different because we have so much moisture in our air here. So you have 29-degree weather here, feels like -50 up there, you know.
Mhm.
So it is different though, but yeah, the social media is it's huge, but it's such a big part of everyone's life now. So you can't cut it out. You just kind of have to learn your lane and what to accept and where to draw the line with your children and yourself for that matter. Because I think now, like, so for example, if you wanted to like cheat on your spouse 15, 20 years ago, you really had to have it in you to do it. You know, you had to like go to the bar, you had to
Yep.
make up some excuse, you had to
Yep.
try to figure
Someone
it out.
might see
Now,
you.
yeah, you know, hope that somebody's gonna be there. Now it's as easy as like you're in bed with your spouse and somebody's DMing you while you're rolled over. You know what I mean? It's so easy to connect people, and that's why the divorce rate is so high, because people think that, hey, I have so much attention on social media. If this doesn't work out, I have all these potential avenues I
Right.
can go down. You know, but they don't realize that social media life's a lot different than real life. So,
Yep. We actually had one of our friends. She did a post yesterday where she put a filter on, and she was just talking about like, this isn't even what I look like. Like, and then she took it off and she's like, swipe back and look how different it is. And this is what we are portraying to children. And that's so many people, the dangers I see with social media is we're not telling our kids that, the way I say it sounds weird, but that being weird as a teenager is a perfectly normal thing to be. Like everybody now has to fit in a group or fit in a category or be a thing or what. No, you're 14. It's perfectly normal for you to be just weird and gawky and awkward and not know what you're doing, because that's what everyone does. But we now it's, oh, am I this? Am I gay? Am I trans? Am I of this group? Am I of that group? Do I like this? Just stop. Just stop. And it's so dangerous because, again, many parents are not out there saying, just stop. You're weird and it's cool. Enjoy your weirdness, because you won't always be weird, and you'll look back at this time and think, I hate it and I never want to do it again. That's cool. That's what everybody's always gone through. And we talked to a guy who has a tech company that's Protect Young Eyes, and he talks about the idea that you still need, as a teenager, as a child, you still need that connection. So if you're not getting it at school, you're not getting it at home, they will go find it. And that's where we now come in, as with our podcast, is there are predators out there, and there are sick, grown, old people who are on there pretending to be 13, 14, 15. And they're the ones that, if our kids don't hear from us that you're perfectly normal, you are beautiful or handsome or loving or kind or whatever it is, someone else is going to tell them. And then they're going to start following that person. And that's where they leave the house. And you could be like, again, same thing with the cheating. You could be sitting on your couch and your kid's like, I'm going to go to my friends. And now they're in somebody's car.
oh yeah, no, and that's always the scariest thing as a parent, because you know it's inevitable sooner or later that you're gonna have those disappointing moments. You're gonna have to catch your kid lying, and so that's normal. But now it's so much more severe than it was so long ago. You know, besides sneaking off with friends, but now you just can't trust anybody because everybody behind you. Even like TikTok, you see all these girls or guys. They do those little trends where it's like, they'll be like completely missing their teeth and nothing. And then they do that trend and they hit it and they look like $1 million. You're like, holy crap. So it's telling these kids, like you're saying, like, you have to look like this. And if you don't, you can look like this. And then, you know, so it makes kids want to be that way. You know, not everybody's blessed with good looks or anything like that. And so you have kids that have been made fun of for however long, and they log onto a TikTok account or YouTube or whatever, and they see these girls. They're like, oh, this girl's not attractive. Oh, wow, look at that. So I need to buy this makeup. I need to talk to this person to do this. So yeah, I agree 100%. And it is hard to filter against that because it's a never ending battle.
Well, they don't get away from it. I know when I was young, I mean, everybody's made fun of all the time. I don't know that there's a person out there that's never been made fun of for something, but you got to go home and school ended and you got to live your life and do the stuff there. School doesn't end when kids go home anymore. They get on their social media and now you're still being made fun of and you're still having issues and all that stuff. And so again, I'm not going out there saying you're shamed if you're a parent who has your kid on social media. Just talk to them about it. Make sure you're having those conversations that this is where it can become dangerous. These are the things we're worried about. Know that the other people in your class, they're also having trouble. So that one cute picture they post, that was probably 30 pictures they took and selected the one cute one they put up there.
Yep. Yeah. And I'm afraid of that as well. Like, like you said, I just feel like no matter what you do, there will be people that try to push that agenda on your kids. School doesn't end. And hopefully, the problem is we're going to be outnumbered sooner or later. Like parents, our generation of parents grew up not knowing what cell phones were and stuff. So we know what it's like to actually have organic reach with someone,
Right.
The next generation of parents are going to be completely different than us because they've grown up in a completely different genre of a lifestyle. And they're used to a certain thing. They're used to being on their phones all hours of the day and doing that. So sooner or later, my fear is that our way of teaching and thinking as parents in this generation is going to be forthwith and gone. Hopefully it's not, but as long, it's like all of our idols. I mean, they took Betty White, man. I mean, come on, They took Betty White, and Bob Saget, our American dad from Full House. Like, we're losing all of them, man. These kids don't even know what it was to rush home from school to watch these
Friday night
positive orientated shows. Yeah, those were the most positive shows, and that was a huge part. And that goes back into entertainment. That was a huge part of making us who we are because we learned a lot of our values off Family Matters and stuff like that. They don't have shows like now. They have. I mean, I couldn't even tell you the names of the shows. It started with, like Hannah Montana, and then you see which way Miley Cyrus went.
Right.
So it's like their shows are completely derived of, just pushing that agenda on kids. Being, it seems like now, and believe me, I have lots of gay friends. I love the next person, but it seems like the agenda now is like there has to be one black kid in every show. There has to be one gay kid in every show. Otherwise, somebody's getting offended. It's like the whole world isn't full of diversity, unfortunately. So I'm not saying you can't have that in a show, but it's like, don't push the agenda. Everybody's pushing, and it could be the same thing. You could either be far right conservative or far left. Know which way is the right way, in my opinion. There's things that meet in the middle on both sides, but it's when you go divertly to one side, then it's completely crazy. I happen to be more conservative. That's just the way I am, but there's guys that are far right that are just out of their mind, so and if you don't see that, then you have wool over your eyes because you're just being one-sided. And that's the whole point of us doing this, is to be able to see each other's point of view. The Marine rapper said one thing to me that still sticks to me that I say, and he goes, if we went to an ice cream shop, I don't know if you've ever heard this man on his live. He goes, if we go to an ice cream shop and you order your favorite ice cream, which would be what? And I'm like, well, I like chocolate ice cream. He's like, all right, cool. He goes, well, I like butterscotch ice cream or whatever he likes. And he goes, and if our friend orders strawberry, he goes, I'm not going to leave the ice cream shop and be offended because you got a different flavor ice cream than me. He goes, then why is that way with politics? Or he goes, if you like Trump and you liked Hillary or whatever, why do we have to hate each other because we did that? But that's how people think. They're like, okay, if you like Trump, you're automatically racist. You're KKK, and if you like Hillary, you're automatically a criminal, and you like that kind of lifestyle. That's just how it goes. And unfortunately, we can take other things that derive that, and it makes no sense when you put it into that context, but it makes perfect sense if you put it over here, which unfortunately, this is how it goes.
Sadly, there's no common sense anymore. There's people don't even know how to communicate or have that conversation. And I think a lot of that has changed due to technology and the agendas being pushed. And people, because of technology, don't know how to put down that phone and no longer know how to connect with one another, like in a real conversation. So then I then often think about the next generation is they don't they wouldn't even know what it was to have dial-up. And we're not even old. So
don't kid
about
no, yeah.
think about that. It's like, could you imagine if they had AIM, or like when we had Blackberries and
Oh
all the
God,
stuff
yeah.
that we had as kids? It's just like, that's crazy, because right now, even like the teens or the dating age is so young now. And it's like, what is dating to you, like at 10 years old? And it's
Not
like,
my
we were
family.
outside. Yeah, we're like, we were outside playing, like, or in sports or doing whatever. So just looking at the aspect of the human connection and knowing that the shift is happening. But for us, we often say more people need to wake up quick, because it's about to get crazy if we don't. But yeah, even I just wanted to touch back really quick on the music aspect, and going off of like YouTube, social media, technology. As far as your influence and the music you write, what are some art? There's going to be two questions. What are some artists that influence you in the music that you create? And then the second question is, anyone listening who is wanting to get into the music industry and just kind of starting off as an independent artist, what is some advice as you being an independent artist and doing it on your own?
Well, I'll answer the second one first. If you're coming into this trying to be an artist, I can give you advice right away. And that might, very simply put, is don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't quit your job. Don't give up the rest of your life to follow this dream, okay? Because there's a reason for that. Like everybody in my genre, for example, wants to go to Nashville, okay? I went to Nashville 5 times last year, whether it was business or leisure. I love it up there. Do I want to live there? Absolutely not. There's a reason, because Nashville in general is so populated. The pool is so saturated. Unless you are somebody who, I mean, I can't even really name anybody. You know, every artist has their uniqueness, but unless you're someone that's God sent, that's just going to stand out automatically,
Yep.
you are not going to stand out in Nashville. I don't care how talented you are. I can throw a rock when I go to Nashville and hit 5 more people that are talented, more talented than I am. Because you can, I say this, and my wife says this all the time. You always say the same analogy, but I say this: you go to Nashville and you have someone make your coffee and they're friendly, and then that night you can go to a little hole in the wall bar and they will blow your mind how talented they are, because that's their life. So that goes back to what I have to say about someone trying to make it in music is, don't put all your eggs in one basket. You know, keep that job, because if you love music, that job's funding the music. Because when you make music, like I said earlier in our conversation, if you make music your full-time job, it gets a lot more stressful and the fun gets out of it, because now you're not doing it to enjoy music. You're doing it to pay your bills. And it's not just extra money now, it's your only money. So instead of taking that money and putting it back in your music to make more music, you're having to take that money and put it back in your bills to get caught up or whatnot. So don't ever put all your eggs in one basket. Let your job or whatever you do to make money support your passion. Don't put it all in the one basket. And the next thing with that part is try to make a name for yourself in your own area, because like people that go to Nashville, that's what everybody does. It's very cliche. So whatever place, if you want to be an actor, don't go to Hollywood, because there's so many people that are trying to do exactly what you're doing. How are you going to stand out? Do it in your own job. I always say this: take a pin and put it where you live and draw a circumference of 250 miles. If you can make people know who you are in that 250-mile radius, then you're doing good. Then you can try to widen that and see where you go from there. If you can't get people known with your art, whatever that may be, in 250-mile radius, how are you going to do it around the world or nationally? You're not going to. So figure that aspect out first, and then you can figure out a much larger scale. That's what we're all trying to do anyways. You know, some people, they get that overnight success through TikTok or whatever happens, and they don't even know how to handle it. They weren't ready for that step yet. You know what I mean? So then it falls on its face, because they're like, you learn everything. Like, I'm sure you both learn off your podcast how to handle it, as I've learned. Every song I record gets a little better, because I get a little better at figuring out the way to record it, or my lyricism, or what people like and don't like. You know, that's with anything in life. So just learn from your mistakes. It's good to make mistakes, because then you know not to keep doing that, you know? So make mistakes and don't get discouraged, because it's easy to get discouraged. I mean, it is very easy to look at your successes and count your failures and let them override each other very quickly, instead of sitting back and going, I haven't been doing this very long and I'm doing pretty good, because you're always comparing yourself to the next person that has bigger numbers than you or is doing more successful than you are. So don't do that. Okay. First question. I like to talk. Sorry. So
no, that's perfect.
first question. Who inspires me? Well, that's all. That's not just musically. I get inspired by people that have nothing to do with music in general. Like I'm a huge Joe Rogan fan. I love listening to his podcast because he's so diverse. Even his the one thing I respect about Joe Rogan is he'll just tell you how he feels. And then he also is not afraid to listen to somebody else's opinion instead of shooting you down, or Jocko. If you're a fan of podcasts, I'm sure you're familiar with these guys.
We had him on our podcast.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, they're amazing. Jocko's awesome, man. And so those guys are just so like refreshing to hear, and they inspire me musically because the way they have an outlook makes me have that same outlook on music. When it comes to artists in general, I mean, being a country fan, I'm not gonna sit there and say, oh, George Strait or Merle Haggard, the classic cliche guys. I love their music, but I will say I'm a huge Johnny Cash fan, and there's a reason why. Johnny Cash was not scared to say what he thought. A lot of people hated him for it, and a lot of people respected him for it. So that's kind of where I go with it. A lot of people hate my music. I'm not stupid. Like, I'm not what you consider classic country. There are people that absolutely hate pop country, that absolutely hate modern country. But you know what, man? I can't fake who I am. I love that kind of country, but that's not the type of country that comes to my mind when I write. I write a certain way, and that's the kind of music I'm going to get out. If you don't like it, then hit that unfollow button if you thought it was something that you weren't, or don't follow me. Just keep swiping. It's very easy to swipe past people these days, We call this the music Tinder. So, and so I have those people that really inspire me. Artist-wise, I look up to everybody has something that makes them unique. That's awesome. I don't really necessarily look at it one person and go, oh my God, I want to be just like that person. No, I want to be like Rick Lynn. Do I have the best voice in the industry? Absolutely not. I would love to sing like Chris Young or Chris Stapleton or somebody like that, but we don't need another Chris Young or Chris Stapleton. Right. We have those. So you need to be unique. And that's another thing I can put into people trying to make it. Stop trying to sound like the next person. Sound like you. We need you. That's what we need. You haven't been found yet, so be you. Let your voice be heard. Have your own unique sound. Stop trying to sound like the person that you idolize, because most likely people are going to choose that person anyways if you're trying to sound like them, because they're original and you're not. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Well, that's what I tell my kids too, in the same vein. Not that they're trying to be artists or anything, but there's only one you. You were made to put on this earth to do what you were made to do. And we don't know what that is yet, but just be you, because that is what is intended. And that's what this world needs, is more of you. They don't need more of whoever is trending on TikTok or whoever celebrities are out there. You don't need that. This is you are meant to do what you're meant to do. So I love that you said that, because again, it's exactly it. You've got to put your truth out there. People can listen to our podcast and they know exactly who we are. You would meet us at the store and we would be exactly those people you heard on the podcast, because that's just how we live our lives. And if you don't want to follow, don't. We're not asking. We're not those people. So
I agree. And that comes back to what you said, like with social media. It is crazy how friendly people are on social media, and you see that same person out and they won't even look you in the eye. I'm like, you like and comment on all my stuff. When it comes to being in person, you won't even look at me. Like, it's the craziest thing, I hate that. But to the comments real quick, Lisa, thank you so much. Actually, my wife's in here too.
I did. I saw her. I was going to say something. I was going to say hello.
Same.
Yeah, Lisa, you're awesome. She's very supportive with all of us as well. So all you guys in the comments that actually support all these independent artists, independent podcasts, thank you guys so much, because you guys are why we do this, so we appreciate it. But yeah, no, I appreciate what you guys are doing as well, because it's not just the music thing. You let artists like me get on your platform as well to spread our message, and you guys have such a positive message, which I appreciate too.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for even creating the music too. Like, it takes all of us, and without everyone in the comments sharing and liking our posts, especially in the age of censorship, like, we would have never been connected to one another, and without you guys sharing our message and all of the love, we wouldn't be able to podcast or do the music and the things that we do. So again, thank you guys for all the unconditional love and support. And even just going back to your guys' comments on being who you are. Just also know that everyone has their own journey and everyone is on their own path. So you might not be in the same level of growth as somebody else, but God puts everyone in your path along the journey to connect for a reason. So use that as a lesson and learn from one another, connect with what you do have, and try to turn whatever is in your life dark to light by transmuting that pain or that struggle into how can I get out of this? Or just even taking little moments of journaling or connecting with someone on live and stepping out of that comfort zone. When you step out of the comfort zone and step into your truth and truly who you are and being authentic, you will see that there's a whole community behind you. And just like overall, the change mentally, it will relieve so much off of you just because you see the people behind you. And it's like, you don't want that fake love because we already have enough of that. And that's the reason why the world is hurting. But yeah, just remember to stay true to who you are. And even your music, Rick, being so versatile, I love it because I can listen to country, I can listen to the trap, I can listen to everything and all the genres I like. So I love all the collabs that are going on right now because there's so much going on in music and a lot more to happen come 2022 and going forward. So just really stay true to who you are and don't allow society to continue to put you in a box, and don't allow yourself to be controlled by that box. Step out of it.
Hear, hear. Preach, girl. Preach.
Right?
No, I agree 100%.
Going into some more questions. What do you think as an artist and life in general, as just even a dad and husband, everything, what do you think is the biggest challenge for the next generation going forward?
Oh man, that's a loaded question.
Everything.
Yeah, right. Where do we start? No, I think
he's like, dang, you got real quick.
Yeah, no, I love it. But I think the real challenge is the fact that people are going to judge you no matter what you do. So you might as well just, and like, I know we keep going back to social media, but it's such a huge part of people's lives. You got to realize that those people that are judging you, you're never going to see in real life most of the time. It's very easy to hide behind a screen and say insulting things. It's very easy to hate on people. It's very easy to spread negativity because you feel bad yourself. But I think as a man and a father and a mother, whatever, for example, bringing back to the music, I have a song coming out, which I think you guys shared, called It Ain't Just Me. Okay. And it's about single parents, because to me, that's huge too. I have a lot of friends, men and women that are single parents, and they struggle with the same thing every day. They're like, how do I do this on my own? Like, it's so hard with me trying to keep my own life with dating and then be a parent and then have a career, you just have to keep pushing, and realize that there's going to be hard times, but you always make it through. If you have people that care about you, there's always going to be people that try to help you out. There's always going to be people that are there in your corner, and you just can't like you said about suicide. There's so many people that just think there's no other way out. I don't understand that, like there's always a way out. You're just reacting on the feelings you have right now. We've all felt like crap at times. We've all felt really good. I think the biggest struggle is handling those emotions and knowing and learning as you progress in your life, or whatever you progress in career wise, that you just have to learn from those and learn to take the positive out of every situation. Because you can either wake up and go, today's going to suck. It's cold outside. I hate it. Or you can go like I am in Florida. You can wake up and go, it's amazing. It's cold. We never get cold weather out here. You have two ways of looking at everything. You know what I mean? So choose to be the other end that looks at it in a positive light. And I think the big community we have is a lot of positive people, like the Marine Rapper and Burden and Topher and all those guys in this community.
Yeah.
You all, they try to spread a positive message, and there's a lot of negative around. Everybody's scared of COVID. Everybody's scared of, the financial situation that everyone's in, but we're all in this struggle together. We're all trying to make it. So, you know what I mean? Just try to make it with someone else too, man. We're all struggling.
Yeah, that's kind of, and that's it. And I know we touched on it earlier that the truer you are to yourself, the more likely you will find people who agree with you or who are you. And now it's just less stressful because you're not pretending to be someone you're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a big thing.
That's what Lisa
Everybody
just
wants to
said.
pretend. Everybody's catfishing themselves.
Yeah, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. No,
Lisa just said the same thing as Becky.
See? Before I knew
Great
it.
minds think alike. Real recognize real. How do you deal
real.
with adversity on a day-to-day basis?
Oh, well, I mean, see, I was adversity in general, like you mean people wise or anything. Like, I was raised as a very open person. Like I said, I'm the least judgmental person there is. Like, we all have our times where we go through those moods and whatnot, but I have a lot of friends and a lot of supportive people. So adversity and diversity in general, you just have to be open to anything. I'm very easygoing and laid back. Like I don't let things. I have a thick skin. Like my wife says all the time, it's like you just don't. You don't get hyped up about stuff, but you don't let things get to you. Or like when she's great. I love her to death, but she gets anxiety and she's just a woman. She worries about things day to day, and I'll be that guy. That's like, don't worry about it. She's like, we have to worry about it. I'm like, no, don't worry about it. She's like, how do you just stay so calm on stuff? That's just how I am. So I'm adverse to I don't let outside things really bother me. I did when I first started this. Like, when I first started, people were like, oh, I don't like his voice. It used to make me mad. Now I'm like, okay. Now I look at it in the positive. I'm like, well, at least you listen to it. I appreciate the stream. My voice isn't for everyone. You may not.
You probably
can't
even sing, so shut up.
And that's
Right.
exactly like that. You may not like country music and you automatically hate me because you think that I'm just this twangy dude that's just on a horse all day. This ain't Yellowstone over here. I wish it was, but no, honestly, yeah. And that's the thing when I play live, I try to tell people, some artists, when I get around singing, they're like, man, I don't know how you just go out and do that. I'm like, because if I don't do it, nobody else is. And if they think they're so much better, you get on stage and do it. Because I could suck all you want, but guess what? If you can do it any better, here's the microphone, here's the guitar, you take it.
Yep,
But
you don't have the balls to do it. So
that's the thing.
There
Most people, they hide. And that's the problem. It's the negativity thing. They can't do it themselves, so they're going to hate on the people that will.
Yep.
People do not like successful people. And if you're on top, people are finding every single way they can to make sure that you go back down because they hate people on top. Because for whatever reason, they just are jealous or they can't do what you're doing and they're making excuses to themselves why they can't do it and you are doing it. Because I swear, anybody that's successful, somebody that's got that mentality will go, oh, they're only here because of this. It's never like oh, well, maybe they did work a lot and maybe
really
they're talented
hard.
And that's why they're there. There's always a reason why people hate on people like that,
That's what
the projection.
I was telling my 13-year-old that just the other day because he's in the band. Excuse me, he's in the band. He plays drums, and
Awesome.
but he's short for his age, so he's constantly made fun of for being short. Well, he won't be. He just isn't there yet. And so I said to him, are the couple of kids making fun of you, are they any good at the drums? And he's like, well, no, not really. I said, well, now you know why they're making fun of you. I said, because are the people who are good at the drums making fun of you? And he goes, well, no. That's why. I said, people above you will never turn back around and make fun of you. It's always the people below you who want to pull you down. Now, that doesn't help at 13 and like, well, you're just better. He still feels bad, but it's still not me, it's you kind of helps.
Yeah, kids are cool these days. And unfortunately, we can't go into school and, tell them all that they need to shut up. That's just how it goes. So that's something that, every parent's going to deal with that no matter what you do. We deal with it as parents. I'm sure you guys do as well. You can't parent every child out there. And kids are cruel, man, because they don't know how to not be. So
yeah.
But
and just remember, like, they're projecting like whatever they feel about themselves onto somebody else. So the projection of it all. And then like for me, I'm always like, you don't even deserve my energy I'm not gonna give it to you. But there's times where I'm just like, okay, well, they want to be heard, they want to be seen. So I'm always like, okay, I'll pray for you, or I'll throw something positive back and shift that energy right back at them. Because then in the back of my mind, I'm always like, you're not going to get me to stoop to your level. And for me, I'm always like, excuse my language, but karma's a bitch.
No, yeah. Yep. That's a true story. People don't like it neither, but it gets you.
So kill them with kindness.
Yes, ma'am. So yeah, no.
I'm actually, I half reading the comment, and it does start at home with the parents. And one of the biggest things that, going back again to social media, this seems to be our trend today, but going back to social media, how can you sit there and say, oh, hi, Susie, in the carpool lane, and then you go home and your kids hear you bitch about her? Or,
Yep.
oh, did you hear what Susie did? Or Susie this, and then she posted this on Facebook. How are they going to treat Susie's kids?
Yeah. No,
because you thought that. And I'm not
Yeah,
saying I'm not guilty, because I'm equally as guilty, but that's just something to be aware of.
Yeah, no. Yeah, like you're saying in the comments, Lisa, you're completely right. It does start at home, and unfortunately, it doesn't start at home with a lot of people. That seems to be the problem, if someone has a talent, if you're a parent, capitalize. If that child really enjoys that, assuming it's not something like trying to build bombs in their bedroom or something like that, support that.
Hey, we might need them.
Yeah, you never know, right? I mean, I think,
allegedly. Don't flag
right.
us.
Yeah,
anything crazy.
No matter what we say, they'll flag us,
Right.
But it's just a matter of time. Now that I went live, they got me on the hit list. So
especially with us.
Yeah, Instagram's after me now. I might as well just put a swastika as my profile photo, because that's what they're gonna think.
Well, the cross is pretty dangerous these days too. So.
Yeah, no, you're not kidding. No, and I got this one in frame. Oh man, and an American flag. I'm screwed.
I know.
We all have crosses around us.
Well.
Yeah, and so no. So yeah, I agree. You guys definitely nailed it.
Anyone in the comments with questions as we talk? Because I know we're trying to go back and forth. But, oh yeah, you already read that one.
Hey, Bethany. No, yeah, we do.
Thanks to everybody who's watching, and I know we've been on here long, so super appreciate you guys sticking it out and listening to us. And again, Rick, thank you for joining us.
Oh, no problem. Thank you guys for having me.
And
it's been a pleasure.
It's been an awesome live, and Instagram didn't try and stop us, so that's cool in and of itself, because we usually can't even get it. But if anything comes up, we will be, of course, following you. And if you need anything and want us to share anything, please let us know. We are here to support, and welcome to our circle of.
Oh, I appreciate that. Anybody in the comments too, make sure you shoot them a follow as well, because obviously we all have like-minded appreciation for the same thing. So yeah, definitely. So, and anybody here as well, make sure you guys stream the music, stream there. So are you guys on Spotify, your guys podcast?
Yeah,
so make sure you check them out on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, all that good stuff.
Save our children. So and you'll see it has a blue handprint on it. So
awesome. Yeah. Make sure you shoot them a follow, guys. Just click down in that arrow right there, and you'll be able to follow them real quickly. I want to tell you guys though, you two, make sure you might want to give Kendall a shout. He does the country rap, so it's a little bit of a different aspect, the hip hop side, but he's a family guy, and you guys would have a really good conversation with him. He's also a business owner too, so he does full-time music, being a dad, being a husband, and owns like 2 businesses, so it's that dude's he's like RoboCop
for 3 hours.
Yeah, and he's been censored a lot of times too, because he's a conservative as well, and he's had to deal with that too. So I think you guys would definitely connect with him really well, because you guys have a great thing going here. Can't wait to see your platform grow in 2022.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
We appreciate that. I'll definitely reach out to him. But yeah, as we've said, thank you to everyone listening for all of your support. We couldn't do it without all of you. And for our followers, as this podcast, we are filming it live, but it will go to our YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, all of that. We'll put the links in our bios. Actually, they're already in our bios, but we'll put all Rick's information in our show notes. But if you can share where our listeners can find you on social media and all of your music.
Yeah, you can find my music anywhere. Every social media there is. We got someone, Danny, here in the comments. She's awesome. She has a Scentsy store, and she, when we did 13 Reasons Why, she went and donated her whole month's salary to the 13 Fallen as well.
Wow.
So if you need anything from Scentsy, go check out her store. She's in the comments as well. She's awesome. And Lance, thank you guys, and Terrell and all you guys. We really appreciate you taking time on your Friday to come listen to us just talk and ramble.
Yeah, and anyone in the comments, if you're a business owner or you parent, anything, if you guys want to jump on our podcast, we're all about community and opening our circles. So definitely reach out to us and let us know. We don't close our podcast off to anyone because our thing has a story. Everyone is a survivor of something. You never know what anyone is going through in life. So really just having that community, and whether we can connect you to someone or grow the community bigger, definitely follow us, reach out, DM us. We are normal humans too. We talk to everybody, we communicate. It might take us a minute though, because like we are switching back and forth between so many platforms. So definitely just reach out to us and we'll get in contact with you. And anyone's welcome on our podcast. It's not like shut off to anybody. So do know that as well.
That's awesome.
Really quick though, before we wrap up, I'm going to put you on the spot. If you had 30 seconds to send a message to the world, what would that be?
Now I only got 27 seconds. No, honestly.
It could go longer because 30 seconds is a lot.
30, honestly,
tough.
like I said, it's just, be yourself and make sure that whatever you believe in, don't listen to the negativity, because everybody's going to be negative. Everybody's going to try to drag you down. Everybody's going to try to tell you can't do it. It sounds so cliche, but, don't let the outside stuff get into what's inside trying to come out, if that makes sense, because it will. And being in this platform or whatever you do, just make sure that you just keep on the path. And no matter what that is, whether that's owning a business or getting married, having a family, be the best person you can be the best parent, because it's up to you. Like you all said, we're creating the next generation. So make sure you just love yourself and love the next generation so that they'll love the next generation after that.
Mm-hmm. I love it.
Yep.
Perfect.
Well,
you had
thank you, ladies.
Thank you so much. We appreciate everything. Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.
See y'all later.
Thank you.
See you. Bye.